This is Big Skinny. Thank you so much for listening in today to the Podcheck Presents Casual Conversations with Big Skinny. Over the last few weeks, we've had the opportunity to sit down and talk to some really great and interesting people, actors, podcast producers, screenwriters, musicians. It's been a great time. One of my favorite conversations thus far has been with a lady you might know from the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. She played Lucy, Miss Dianne Steinberg. Now, many might not know that she was a singer back in the day as well, has some albums out. You might want to get online and find those, has a very great voice.
You're my sunny one. Life can be rough, and yet we're so right. Unlike ships that pass in the night, you're the permanent one.
But this lady is a very, very funny individual, and I promise you, you're going to enjoy our conversation with her. But one of the nuggets I got out of this was her encounter with the lead singer from Journey, Steve Perry, before he was the lead singer. In fact, this story that we're going to tell might have changed the course of his career. You have to be you have to decide that for yourself. But anyway, sit back and enjoy the Podcheck Presents Casual Conversations with Miss Dianne Steinberg, Part 1. It's all coming your way next on the Podcheck Presents Casual Conversations with Big Skinny. This is Big Skinny. Hope you're doing well today, wherever you happen to be. And I want to take a few minutes today just to tell you about our brand spanking new video podcast, The Podcheck Presents Casual Conversations with Big Skinny. And what I'd like to tell you is, it's not going to be your everyday interview with an artist such as a musician or a famous singer-songwriter or an actor, actress, that kind of thing. What we'd like to do is get to know these people as people, something outside of their career. So that's what Casual Conversations is all about. If all we ever did was talk about our career every time we talk to somebody, to sit down and talk to somebody, start talking about your job, it would get kind of boring real quick. So, there's so much more to these people that we'd like to find out about. Maybe, so-and-so's a tomato farmer, or he likes to go fishing on the weekends. When he's not out doing his thing. But, there's so much more to these people than just their job. And that's what we're going to do here at Casual Conversations. We're going to talk to them, get to know them as a person. If you wanted to find out how so-and-so put this album together, I'm sure there's 1,000 people that he's interviewed with over on YouTube that could tell you, that give you that answer. And we want to do more than that. We want to get to know these people as real human beings. Everybody is the same in the end. They put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you and I do. They have to shop to buy groceries. They have to do things that everyday people do. So why not get to know them as a person? So make sure you join us. We're putting out new content all the time, and that's the Podcheck Presents Casual Conversations with Big Skinny. So make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you can be alerted every time we drop a new video. And I promise you, we got some great interviews coming up in the future that you're not going to want to miss. For God's sake, stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you. Have a good one. All right. Casual Conversations. That's the Podcheck Presents Casual Conversations with Big Skinny. And today we have special guest star, Miss Dianne Steinberg Lewis. Now,
hey, Big Skinny.
You might know her from her part that she played in Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band as Lucy, hence the Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. But she was also a recording artist back in the day and very heavily involved in music. And I think she still is to some degree. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I started before I had my first record. I went to school to get my degree. I thought it out. I said, I'm going to do showbiz, but I'm going to get my degree. Got to have that to fall back on. And so I got a degree in public school music. Is everything okay? You seeing me okay?
Yes, ma'am. I can see you great.
Okay. All right. I'm going to keep on going. So I got Bachelor of Music in Public School Music, K through 12, but my emphasis was high school. So I taught in Battle Creek Central High School. We had performance groups there. I mean, I think I was only like 21 years old, so I wasn't that much older than the kids who are now all grown and we're all friends all these years later. They got grandkids. I don't have any yet, but anyway. So, so I started doing that, and I was always performing on the weekends, and at a place in Kalamazoo, Michigan, called the Whistle Stop. Now, I'm from Detroit. Originally, I'm from Memphis, but we moved to Detroit in about '63 because my mother was also in radio, and she got a big gig there, and so everything changed for us, from the South to the North. And then I went further up north to Kalamazoo, Michigan. And I like it because, Kalamazoo still sounds kind of country, but, and, but went up there and got my degree, taught high school in Battle Creek, Michigan. And while I was there, my mom always knew that I wanted to do professional performing because I was always doing it on the weekends. Uh, Played at a place, a railroad car called the Whistle Stop, and got to. That was my first thing. My freshman year, I was in school. Second year, I saw a girl, and I don't know why I can't remember her name right now. I have remembered her name. Okay, it's coming. Marcia G. And she was playing the guitar because every dorm had a front part where everybody would hang out, and they had a piano. So I would play piano, but I heard her playing Puff Magic Dragon, and I went, what are you learning that for? And she went, I got a gig at the Whistle Stop. And I was so happy to find out that there was actually a place that, excuse me, actually a place that paid $5 an hour. And, those were the days when everybody was smoking cigarettes. So, I figured I had bummed so many cigarettes and owed so many people a pack of cigarettes that I hate telling you about that part. But I would get a chance to pay them back. And I started working down there, got my hands in it, and my God, when she told me she was making that money for Puff the Magic Dragon, I went home and I said, give me all of my songbooks, all of my Barbra Streisand, all of my Memphis stuff, and got into it. And then after about 2.5 years of teaching, and we took the choir to Romania for 3 weeks. A Reader's Digest sponsored this tour, and I got a chance to work with Giff Richards. His name was Pops Richards, and he was very good friends with Norman Luboff, the Norman Luboff Singers, and so I got a chance to learn some very, very spectacular techniques and disciplines from him, but about 1972, 3, I decided that it was time for me to, go home and try my hand at a professional, just to give it a try, And so my mom said, well, let's hook you up. And I'm telling everybody, they're going to have to tell me the truth if you have anything to offer or not. And so we went to Philadelphia, we went to New York, saw Clive Davis, saw Huff and Gamble, we saw everybody. You know who Huff and Gamble is? That's that's the Philadelphia sound. So because we didn't know what category to put me in, because I loved I love Minnie Riperton. I love Barbara Streisand. I loved Roberta Flack, Melissa Manchester. I wasn't so much a folkie, but I mean, I got Stax from Memphis because my uncle was in Booker T and EMGs, so Stax was the sound, and the mom was in radio, and then when I got to Detroit, I got Motown. So all of those things kind of played into my style, and so we had to just kind of figure, well, where are we going with this? And they said, yeah, we think she's got something. When I got to Atlantic, LeBaron Taylor was vice president of Atlantic Records, and he said, and he used to work with my mom at WCHB in Inkster, and he said, okay, Queen, come on over here and we'll tell her if she's worth her salt with anything. And they deemed that I was, and we had my first album. Didn't have any big hits on it, but we got started.
That's okay. That's okay. You got a chance to get started. I mean, a lot of people didn't even have that opportunity, so that's great.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad that if you're in Memphis, and I don't know if it's like this in Texas, but if you're in Memphis or even Detroit, and you get up there and sing and perform, and they give you a very polite hand clap, you know what that means? That means they're just doing their duty, but you ain't no good.
Get off the stage.
But I got a real good reception, and that gave me a lot of confidence to pick up and decide whether I was going to go to California or go to New York. And I figured I'd go to California because if I had to starve and freeze to death, I could at least go out to the beach and live in my car.
So you got your first record deal with Atlantic.
Yeah.
How many records were you obligated to produce? Just the one, or was there more than that?
Yeah, just the one, and then they see where that's going to go. And then when I was trying to figure out who's going to be my agent, and I started hearing like Chicago, and I met Average White Band because they were also with Atlantic. I was doing a photo shoot, and they said, hey, come over here and meet the guys, Second time I met them was backstage when they did a concert here in Los Angeles, and that's when I met Cher and her mother and her sister, because they were avid followers of Average White Band. And then the next time I saw Seamus was 1993. Seamus was the bass player for them. It was at 1993 Earth Day that Paul McCartney put out at the Hollywood Bowl, and after all those years, he recognized me. You change a little bit after a movie and kids, and
That's okay. Everybody, it's part of life is getting older, but you're still a very pretty woman. And
thank you, Dad.
Everybody gets older. I mean, I look at my pictures from back when I was, 18, 19 years old, and the difference is night and day, but that's okay. It's just part of life. It's just part of life. Gotta roll with it.
Sometimes I feel I have to preface that because, it's really weird. You know how Facebook is. People will call and they go, hi, you're pretty, hello. And then I look them up and I don't see that they're sending me pictures of them, and they all look like they're in their, I don't know, 40s or something. Delete. I push it immediately because I ain't on the market, guys. We're done.
I tell you what's funny is I weighed about 110 pounds my senior year in high school. So
what? Is that why they call you Big Skinny?
No, that was my radio name. But so I probably weighed about 110 to 120 pounds in high school. So we had our first high school reunion. I think it was like 15, 20 years after we decided to have a high school reunion. And I'm walking up to people that I knew for 12 years, went to school with them, introducing myself. They're like, who are you? And I tell them, they're like, no way, that's not you. So that was kind of crazy.
Well, all of our friends, and a lot of the girls I graduated with in college, they've all let their hair go naturally gray. And I kept this long hair all the time, And finally, 19, I am a breast cancer survivor. And so in 2017, I finished up everything. We got it early. Everything's fine. But I decided, well, let's kind of let this, I didn't lose my hair. I did those cold caps. If anybody wants to know about it, I shall tell you all about it. But I did the cold caps and I lost some, but it was my hair just got thin. And I went, you know what? Let's be adventuresome. I've had this long hair all my life. So, in fact, Will Smith's daughter had a song out called "I Am Not My Hair," and so I figured, yeah, let's see where it's at for me. And so they shaved it off on the sides and gave me a little baby mohawk, and we went purple. Then after that, we went blurple and put the blue in it. Then we put the teal in it, and and it was fun. And then my hair was short, so that was a revelation. You know, I mean, it's like, yeah, you know, they say you're supposed to cut your hair after a certain age. At Bull Twinkie, you don't have to cut your hair, but if you want to, you know,
Yeah.
just know it'll all grow back, baby. But give yourself a chance. Try some different looks. And so Kenny said, I saw Michelle Finney, and she was seeing all these other glorious women with their long gray manes. And he said, I really like that. I went, so now I got to put gray in my hair, right? And so I started. So here you got it.
Nothing wrong with nothing wrong with little gray hair, as you can tell.
You gotta put the light on that. Okay.
I've kind of got the gray hair thing going myself. There's nothing wrong with that.
You look cute, big skin.
That's you know, it's over the pandemic. I've decided to grow a beard, and I've always had a little bit of facial hair, but never a beard. And then I started growing it, and my wife really liked it, and so she said, "I like that. You're gonna have to keep it." So you know, once a woman's kind of locked in on something, it's kind of, you know, okay, it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I kind of like Kenny's too. He went with a two-tone, so he just looks like a little baby Billy Goat. That's all right. It's my Billy Goat.
All right, so I got a story I heard Mr. Kenny Lewis tell about you know, he was getting a band together for your second album,
Yeah.
with ABC. Is
Yeah.
that right? ABC. And he was putting a little band together, and that was about the time that you were fixing to get the part for, or actually you'd gotten the part for Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. So he effectively had to go in and say, okay, guys, this is not going to happen right now. We're going to have to, you know, put it on hiatus or whatever. But the backup singer for you at the time was Steve Perry, which would later become Journey's frontman.
Well, he was getting ready to be our background singer. And so I just knew that we had sent out the word that we needed it. So Kenny went out and talked to him, because we went to a rehearsal place. And I mean, excuse me, I remember who was at that rehearsal, but we said, we need background singers. And they said, well, Steve Perry lives down a few, you know, apartments. And so Kenny disappeared and went down there and talked to him. And I had no idea, you know, I just said, okay, I guess if he's a good singer, that's going to be great. Well, then, we had to put it on hold because I had to go in the hospital for a minute. And then we came out and figured out that the record, they held the release of the album for a minute because I had gone in the hospital. And then while I was in the hospital, they asked if I would open for Gino Vanelli. And then the other one came for George Benson. And I was so excited, you know. And then once it was out, you know, and we had to call everything out because of those two things. Steve Perry was gone already. Kenny said he went back to do something at a chicken ranch or something like that. I don't know, but when he told me, yeah, I called Steve Perry. I said, Steve Perry was supposed to be my background singer. Damn. Okay. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
All-time favorite singer, Steve Perry.
Oh, I love him. You
Great,
know, he kind of reminds me of Sam Cooke and some of his vocal inflections.
Very soulful.
He turns at the end of a phrase, and I go, "That's Sam Cooke, man." If I do get a chance to talk to him, I'm gonna explore that with him. Yeah, you know, stuff. But anyway.
So tell us a little bit about your getting the part of Lucy and how that came about.
Wow. Ooh, okay. I just finished the album. Well, yeah, I just finished the album, and I went to I went to ABC Records to see Otis Smith. He was vice president, and a guy by the name of Charlie Miner was an A&R guy. So they said, okay, the record's finished. We're going to figure out what we're going to do. They recommended what manager I should get, and we're ready to roll. And so Charlie Miner came in and said, I just got a call. They're looking for somebody to play the role of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds in this movie. And so Otis said, well, he said, would you be interested in it? And I said, I don't know. I don't know that I want to, I don't really want to be with I don't want to do anything with a bunch of rockers that don't know how to act, because then I know what's going to happen to that film. It's going to, so, listen, I didn't have a bad attitude. I just had an opinion about how I thought it should go. And so, when I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, yeah, I think that would be very nice. And so he came in, Charlie Miner said, come into my office. And he opened up the inside of my album, which should have been on the cover of the album. It was a picture taken by Buddy Rosenberg, and everybody went to that guy. He was great. And so Charlie Miner said, okay, just stand here for a minute. And I stood in the doorway, and he opened it up, and he kind of went back in his chair, got on the telephone, and he said, yeah, you still looking for Lucy? He said, I'm looking at her right now. So he was looking at the album cover, And so I said, now I got to go tell this manager. I had Dick Broder was my manager, and he was also managing Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis and a few other people. But Billy and Marilyn and Billy had a show. It was after this Top 10. You were probably too young to remember that. But they had this show. It was after Solid Gold, when they started having dancers,
I remember this. I remember that show.
You do?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, it was pretty good, and all of a sudden it was like, blah. And so Billy Davis and Marilyn McCoo were kind of like the heir apparent to the Sonny and Cher show. So they were the number one artist. And so I went to my manager. I said, you knew about this movie, and you didn't tell me anything about it. He said, well, you said you didn't want to do anything with I said, that's because the last time you came to me, you wanted me to do some children's show, and I've already been a teacher, and I just really want to get on to the, I was used to seeing, my goodness, Cheetah Rivera and Barbara Streisand and everyone with with all the beautiful stuff on stage. I was impressed with that. Or even Diana Ross and the Supremes, and I didn't know he was talking about Sesame Street, but there you go. But anyway, as the fates would have it, he said, okay, let me set up the interview, because the casting director, I went to school with the casting director, and I'm going, hot diggity dog, this is great, and so they told me what the part was about, and Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds was the song I was going to audition with, and we had a friend that was in a Beatles sound-alike band back then called Rain, and so and I can't remember the guy's name. If Kenny was in here right now, I'd give him a little spotlight right now, but he sent over the arrangements and everything and the lyrics, and and I remember going over the lyrics. We were on I lived on Beechwood Drive. You know where the Hollywood sign is? You see in all the movies. And
Oh yeah.
Okay, the street that's right below that is Beechwood Drive. And in fact, one of the guys that was in the series Friends, Tony, who was in Friends? I forgot. Tony, Fooey. Anyway, he had his own series after that, and they used the apartment, 2232 North Beechwood Drive. You can actually look it up on Facebook, not Facebook, but any real estate, because my sister just sent me a picture of it and the very apartment that I lived in
Oh, wow.
from 74 to 81. The apartment that I was living in when I was doing the movie, they're renting it out. I paid I paid 220, 210. Then it went to 225. Then it went to 235, and now it's like $2,500 a month.
Oh,
But
wow.
they renovated it, and it still looks pretty good. I was kind of thinking about maybe I should downsize and get back over there. But anyway, no, I'm kidding. but uh, if you want to get that apartment, ladies and gentlemen, I
For,
think it's still up
for,
there. If you
for
want
a
to check
slim
it
$2,500 a month, it can be yours.
Oh shoot! But I'll
But
tell you
wait, there's more.
what. Yeah, because it has its own patio, balcony, and you can go out there. If you got some cats, you can put those suckers out there with those,
Oh,
those
yeah.
cat boxes.
That's what you want running around Hollywood, a bunch of crazy cat people.
And when you go out, you're looking at Capitol Records and all of Hollywood. So I would go out there and meditate and say, one day you're going to know my name. Look, you got to have positive thinking,
That's
okay?
right.
I'm not being arrogant. I'm not being anything other than you got to state it and then claim it. So
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, you didn't know my name. Look at it. Look at it now.
Big Skinny. Shoot. And, I see you got a Kenny, Kenny was Kenny. You got Kenney.
That's right. It's abnormal, but it's easier to find.
Well, here's another. Look, we got some long names up here. I got Diane. Now, I want everybody to know, I always wrote my name Diane with two N's. And then my birth certificate said one. I don't know. I got through college and everything, always doing it with two N's. I got my diploma. But for Sergeant Pepper, it was Dianne Steinberg. So I usually do it with one N, but you can find me under Diane with one N, Steinberg Lewis, or Dianne Steinberg. Just to clear that up.
Well, let me tell you this before I lose this train of thought here, because the older you get, your thoughts just go pretty quick.
Yeah, I know I've gone all off the track here. All right, go on.
But my older brother was like the biggest Bee Gees fan I think there ever was. Now, I just saw a video of you here recently where you were doing an interview with this guy that was totally geeked out on the Bee Gees.
Yeah, David Fedor.
But I mean, that's great. But my brother, he was a big fan. In fact, to this day, because I lost my brother back in '84, but to this day, I have a ringtone of "Too Much Heaven" by the Bee Gees on my phone, just for that reason. My brother, it's like a tribute to my brother.
Very nice.
So what was it like working with these guys day in and day out? And is it someone that you still keep in contact with, or anybody you keep in contact with from the cast?
Peter Frampton opened up for Steve Miller. So, I saw him all the time. I mean, 3 years in a row, I saw Peter on the road. So, but we don't call each up and say, hey, in the meantime, before Donald Pleasance passed, I used to talk to him, and if he'd come in town, go over there and drop over and say hello. And, and he was a great inspiration to me on Sergeant Pepper. He ended up being a mentor. In fact, David Fedor's interview, a guy from UK who's going to be writing a book about Donald Pleasance, and is interviewing Leslie Ann Warren and F. Murray Abraham, and he wants to interview me for it. And I'm very honored to do that, because Donald, he was just there every day. I mean, he might have had that little accent, but hey, Big Skinny, he could have hung out texting. In fact, let me tell you something. I kind of figured once I started talking to you, I'd really get into my Southern thing here, So I know Texas is not the South, but if I hear any little bit of going that way, I'm going to go with you. But when we did Sergeant Pepper, and there was no dialogue on the movie, but I never forget the part when he goes, I want you. I want you so bad, and he says, I didn't know. He says, I should have thought about it. I don't know why I did it with an English accent. He said, I should have done it with like a New York or something, And F. Murray Abraham says that he is like in doing master classes, he could do any accent, I think I can do like a Memphis accent. And maybe if I hang out with y'all, I can do a Texas accent. That's it.
Well, me and my wife here, I got a buddy of mine that lives in Memphis. He's lived there. He's lived there for many, many years. So anytime we go up east, anytime we head east, we try to make a trip up to Memphis to hang out. So he'll usually take us downtown to catch out some blues shows and take us for barbecue, that kind of stuff. But
where you go?
It was really a treat to Beale Street. Beale Street was like the bomb. I mean, it was so much fun. And some of the restaurants, I can't remember right offhand the name of the restaurants because we made t-shirts. I had a sister at the time that lived in Ohio. So on the way up there, we stopped in and visited with him. He took us to one place to eat barbecue and go visit some blues bars. On the way back, he took us to a different place that was a blues bar that served barbecue. So, I mean, it was it was a lot of fun, but I will say the barbecue from Texas and Memphis is totally different, but they're both equally great in their own right.
Honey, it's all in the sauce and the special touch.
Well, I will tell you this, being from Texas now, and I'm not downgrading Memphis barbecue because I love it, but Texas barbecue, it is one of those barbecues that you don't even have to have a sauce for it. If you can eat it without sauce, that's when you know it's good barbecue.
So you must have a rub or something on there.
Well, we put rub on it, but we don't have to put sauce on it. I mean, a lot of people do, but if you can eat it without the sauce, that's when you know you got some good barbecue because you got to taste that smoke.
Well, you got to taste the smoke, but now let's talk about the sauce for a minute, and then we'll get back to how I got Sergeant Pepper. but like, I don't like it if it's too sugary.
Yep.
You might as well have ketchup with a little something in it, but I like it with that little touch of vinegar, Well, anyway, we used to make our homemade sauce. And my dad would get a stick and they put a rag around it, and and everybody made their own brick grill in the backyard. I don't know if you did that in Texas. You probably have those smokers, don't you?
Let me tell you what my dad did when I was a kid. He took this old upright freezer, gutted it out, and made a smoker out of that. And he would hang racks of ribs, sticks of bologna. I mean, all kinds of stuff. It was greatness.
Okay. What does this mean? I'm going to have to get real skinny, big skinny, before I come and see you, or it's going to be skinny no more. Skinny
Big Skinny was my radio. Big Skinny was my radio name. That was what they called me when I was in radio. That was just my little moniker. And it's
okay. Well,
I'm about 6'4" and about 315 pounds, so not a small guy.
Oh well, hey, that's nice and cuddly. His wife said that. Okay, so
this is Big Skinny, and you've been listening to the Podcheck Presents Casual Conversations with Big Skinny. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. Hey, we'll see you.